Welcome to part 11, everyone. Surgery is the last option when you're awake. Enjoy the show. This is a technique I put together. It's called Wolfe Non-Surgical. This technique is actually a technique where, let's say if these are the fibers, this is the muscle fibers in a muscle or a tendon or ligaments, or also in organs. And the fibers run the same way. What happens is the fibers should have some flow between them. They get stuck together and then they actually get crumped up. And that's all through inflammation, okay? Lack of oxygen, lack of proper circulation, crystallization, and displaced calcium. My technique will actually take that knot and open it up and then spread these fibers and allow the blood flow, the oxygen, the nutrition to come in and the toxins out. And instantaneously, we can actually change that tissue back to beautiful, healthy tissue. Once you have the flow, once you have the breath of life in there. When we talk about people having tons of scar tissue and somebody says, oh, I've got to go to the doctor, I've got tons of scar tissue, and 3 years ago they cut it out, and now I've got more adhesions and they got to cut those out. Understand, they're going to keep cutting them out. Surgery causes more scar tissue than anything else. And understand something. You could have a big lump of scar tissue, and guess what we can do? By working with you, by bringing the energy flow up, the invisible energy, the blood, the lymph, and by spreading those fibers apart and getting the calcium back into the bones, melting the crystallization, guess what? That scar tissue is going to be gone, because it's not like something you got to poop out or eliminate. It's just bringing the life force back into the tissues that have lost their life force. That's the deal. All right. You're never too old to become young again. You're never too old to have your flexibility, elasticity, and your strength back. You need to get that. Well, you're doing good for 40 years old. No, you're not, because 40-year-old people are not doing good. Either a 30-year-old, either a 20-year-old now, because they keep on changing the rate of health for every age, every few years. So understand something with Wolfe Non-Surgical, and you can take it or leave it, but sometimes the best way to do it is to put your money where your mouth is. And that's why I'm going to tell you right now that we offer a money-back guarantee that the first treatment we do on you will outdo everything else you've ever gotten. That's right, you heard what I said. Because unless you're dealing with the scar tissue issue, and I don't care what the illness or dis-ease is in the body, there's a scar tissue issue, there's a displaced calcium issue, and once you deal with that, you reverse the hands of time. So if you want to take a look at Wolfe Non-Surgical, take a look at itioh.com. That's our school website. But go to A to Z Wellness Masterclass and take a look at the A to Z Wellness Class guide and go into my library and really start doing your homework and start checking it out. Okay, so let's move on. So the other thing I want you to understand too is that as soon as you take personal action, okay, you are going to see amazing things happen. So make sure you go to my Do-It-Yourself guide in my library and take a look at belly button therapy. Take a look at pelvic expander. How would you like to expand your pelvis? And just, you know what? Just have that flower open up. Allow the energy flow to come back in, to take that energy up through your spinal column to awaken your brain again. Hey, you want to know something? You can take it or leave it. But guess what? Memory problems, Alzheimer's, dementia, guess what? A lot of it starts also in your pelvis, because that's where the information, communication, and the light and the energy source, the main source of your body is, and it's all collected, and it comes up through the coccyx, up through the spine, through in the spinal fluid to your brain to turn your brain on. Okay? And then please take a look at the pelvic activation squats in the Do-It-Yourself also guide. All right? You can also look at these in the Perfect Day as well guide, and also in the 6-day advanced water fasting challenge. Now, you're going to want to check this out, everyone, and that is this Clapping for Health Masterclass. I'm telling you, it is amazing. The Clapping for Health is where you're going to actually get a clapper, a Doc of Detox clapper. You can order it from our website. We're going to show you how to clap your whole body, And we're going to show you how to get rid of stiff joints, stiff muscles. And you know what? Guess what? Healthy people don't bruise. And if you start clapping and you bruise easy, then just know how contaminated your tissues are, that they're contaminated to the point that they're degenerating. And when you clap, it brings the sickness, the disease to the surface. So depending on the color, I mean, everybody's going to go red when they clap, but guess what? That's increased circulation. Who couldn't use some of that? So please check out Clapping for Health. All right? And here's the do-it-yourself guide. Go to my library, and you're going to find so many videos in there. Hair restoration, clapping for health, how to fly healthy, healthy lungs, coffee enema, the ultimate coffee enema, healing your prostate, the uterus, ovarian, fallopian tubes, how to work with those, parasites and predators. You know what? Belly button therapy, pelvic expander, pelvic squat, etc. So we're going to keep adding to this. We've just put a few here. So understand something. We are going to be creating, and we already have created the most powerful, do-it-yourself, get your life back, get your health back, get your brain back library in the world. Okay? So also, everybody, I want you to know something, okay? Look at the day that you decide, okay, to unleash the power to heal is the day that you decided that you're going to become your own practitioner. The day that you decided that you are no longer going to go for treatments, you want to be trained. And understand something, if you can find a practitioner that's going to train you instead of treating you, holy crap, isn't that the power? Or, give a man not just fish, but give him a fishing rod to go fish. I think you get what I'm saying. So our personalized treatment and trainings will come to you anywhere around the world. And what we do is we do certifications for one or for as many as 50 people in clinics, or people who just want to be certified in our Wolfe Non-Surgical or as a whole life coach. And we will go anywhere around the world. We go around the world, and right now I have 3 master trainers traveling the world right now. And guess what? They're still traveling. And yes, that COVID thing is going on. Now, they're at families' homes. And so one of my trainers has done 2 certifications, okay, already in the last 20 days. And now he's doing 2 personal treatment and trainings. Another one of my master trainers has just done 3 personal treatment and trainings, and they traveled, like I said, all over the world. So the reality is, how would it feel if you had a technique that was the most powerful body work? You knew how to think, drink, and eat from the minute you woke up until you went to bed so that you could teach your family how to do that. And that we actually taught you that you weren't you so that you could release the authentic you so that you could really have a life of joy, energy. Listen to me. Wouldn't it be great to unleash your unlimited potential? You're going to have to get rid of your limiting beliefs. And then understand something. I'm going to give you my personal guarantee that when you work with us, it never ends. We're going to keep on being there for you, supporting you. That's what it's all about. It's not about go and get a consultation and then go take a bunch of products home, don't know what to do, or you go and you try to get something, a little bit training. No, we're going to train you all the way. Understand something. There is not a person alive that cannot be their own practitioner. And that, okay, that is the biggest wow moment that you should have right now, is that you can become your own practitioner. Oh, you want to depend on me? You want to depend on the medical system, the natural health system? How would you like to depend on yourself? When something goes sideways in the family or somebody's in pain, how would you like to be the one that knows how to deal with that? This is what happens. Whether in natural health or whether in medical health, what have we made everybody feel like? You're too stupid to look after yourself or your family. And you know what? That was intentionally done to women. You know what? I'm telling you right now, we owe women an apology. We say to them, care for yourself, care for your whole family, and we're going to give you a manual that doesn't even work. Well, I'll tell you something. Our manual works. And with everything that we do with you, we give you manuals, step by step. Okay? And look, everything I write, everything I do, if a 6-year-old can't understand it, I'm not doing it. We're not going to use names like fibromyalgia, COPD, arthritis, polymyalgia, okay, and all these other names that nobody knows. Isn't it kind of funny in this world? Every time there's something wrong with the body, we got to give it a Greek name so you don't understand it, so you feel like you're dying of something because you don't understand it. Meanwhile, there's nothing that goes on in the human body that you couldn't understand and that you couldn't take massive action with. So please check out our personal treatment and training guide on my library and call me direct if you want. My extension's number 5. But understand something. What are you worth? You know what? Here's what everybody says. Why didn't we just do it? Why didn't I take massive action? Mom's gone. Dad's gone. I don't want to be in the hospital right now. Why didn't I make those changes? Because you were programmed not to change. And I'm telling you, we got to change that program. We got to switch it to a different channel called self-love and self-care, because self-care is the only health care. And self-love is what's going to make you be able to just shine that bright light on everyone. So either come to us or we'll come to you. But you know what we'll do? We'll see this thing through, okay? All right, so understand something, everybody. And this is the deal. We actually think that pain, like continual pain, and pain that's distracting, and pain that drives us to drugs, whether they're street drugs, or whether they're pharmaceutical drugs, or whether it's alcohol, we think that is a normal way of life. It is nothing normal about that. There is nothing normal about abusing or destroying your life. And understand something. As you see in this slide, pain is your body's GPS. And it lets you know, and it's saying, I love you so much. This is just a warning. Get back on track. But guess what? You have been given so many dysfunctional beliefs that you don't even know where to go. I'm asking you right now to please trust me, and you shouldn't trust me. And I have to earn your trust. I get it, because who can you trust? But the reality is can you keep on making decisions out of fear? Can you do that? Because if you do, okay, you're never going to let go of that which is undermining your health. I mean, gosh, how constipated do you want to be? You know, when you can't digest something, you store it. And that you know why you can't digest it? Because it makes no sense. It's just not logical. Life makes no sense. We come down here. We deserve to have a pain-free life. Now, right now, if I think about it, I could probably feel a little bit of pain somewhere in my body, but it's not like distracting me. It's not ruining my day. And understand something, you don't have to have your day ruined either. And that was the sucker punch. And I'm going to tell you something right now. This pain, and then the inflammation that comes along with it, and the swelling are the body's way of healing. Okay, understand something. Pain is not your enemy, it's your friend. When you make pain your enemy, then you make sickness your enemy. When you get sick, it's because you didn't listen to pain. And that is called a disease. Sickness is called a disease. You're not at ease with yourself. So if you want to attack yourself by attacking pain and then attacking the sickness, know that you will die a miserable life. You will feel old. Your moods will be all over the place, or you'll just be miserable all the time trying to put on a happy face. And guess what? The last 10 to 15 years, you'll wish you were dead. Okay. So issues in the tissues, inflammation nation. I think I've got you understanding this, and you need to understand something else. You'll want to do my masterclass, okay? And my masterclass is the emotional chemistry of disease and healing. And I will prove that the inflammation is in your brain before it's in your body. And I will prove that that inflammation is dysfunctional beliefs that you have been given by the same people that have made this thing up called COVID. Oh yes, I know there's a mutated virus out there, but the reality is it's not killing all these people. There are people passing, and I do not want to see anyone pass. But if you think, okay, that I don't care and that my heart is not filled up with love for you, then you're not hearing me. You have issues in your tissues because you've got them in your mind, and they've been planted there from day one since you got here, from your parents, from your schooling, and from every bloody program you've ever watched, because the whole thing is orchestrated. So understand, you've got to get it together. So understand something. Toxic thoughts equal a toxic diet plus ineffective treatment. I mean, could we have any more ineffective treatment and therapy out there? Let me tell you something. A lot of the body work out there is just watering the pain down, turning it down to simmer. I don't want to pain management. I want to master my pain and understand it's not my enemy. Okay, I don't want to manage it. I'm going to master it. So toxic thoughts equal a toxic diet. Ineffective treatment equals constipation. We're a constipation nation. And you can say let me tell you something right now. I've got cancer patients right now with bowel problems, big bowel problems. Like, how about tumors? How about polyps? And how about they go 2 to 5 times a day? So now you're going to tell me that you're doing great? No, their bowel's in crisis, and it's trying to get rid of this poop. But the thing is, it's not what comes out, it's what stays in. So toxic thoughts create a toxic diet. Tell me that when you're in a bad mood, you eat right. When you're sad, you eat right. Give me a break. Nobody does. Toxic thoughts equal toxic diet. Ineffective treatments equal constipation. And then infection. We've talked about it. Then inflammation. Then scar tissue formation. Displaced calcium, and then mutation. Hello, cancer. And guess what? Let me tell you something right now. You're the answer to cancer. All right? If you take a look at the word cancer, the C, okay, the C stands for conflict, contamination, and corruption. Drop the C, you're left with ANSER, and that spells answer. And you're the only answer to cancer. So you need to get that. There is no cure. You're the cure. Unleash the practitioner from within. Because understand something. Inflammation creates 95% of all scar tissue in the human body. Did you get that? I hope you did. All right. Surgery creates more internal scar tissue than anything else in the human body. Did you get that? Okay. So I'm talking about inflammation creates 95% of scar tissue, but that's without talking about surgery. If you get surgery, after every surgery, you've got this massive scar tissue in you that becomes this physical block that stops your circulation. Oh my gosh, look, we found another tumor right beside it. Oh my gosh, I can't even breathe. I can't even move my arm. Oh my gosh, I can't even poo properly. That's scar tissue. And then when you get a scar tissue issue from surgery, you need Wolfe Non-Surgical. And if you don't do it, then guess what? Keep suffering. And understand something. The only reason why people keep suffering anyways is they run a suffering program and they don't believe that they deserve to have the freedom. People go and put themselves into some kind of a emotional mental jail and they just stay there their whole life. And this is because of dysfunctional beliefs. So understand something. Inflammation creates scar tissue formation, dehydration, and then mutation. And then guess what happens after that? You get so much scar tissue in you, so much crystallization in you, okay, that you have no circulation. And that's why we're an aging nation. And that's why you're so numbed out. You're so numbed out because the more scar tissue, the more physical blocks you have of scar tissue, crystallization, calcification in you. And then everybody who thinks that fluoride, okay, is something that you should put in your mouth when you go to the dentist to destroy your pineal gland. I mean, who are these terrorists, these dental terrorists? And fluoride does not help your teeth, okay? It helps you lose your mind. So, I'm just going to touch on this lightly. If you haven't seen, okay, my SAC calcium guide, which is in my library, I would suggest that you go to the Doc of Detox library, click on the SAC calcium guide, and go watch the videos. We've got videos on SAC and cancer, SAC and arthritis, SAC and autoimmune disease, SAC and diabetes. So we have lots of different things, and we've got all the science in there, the studies to prove it, but this is the only calcium product in the world that actually works. And it's ions, which are invisible, that turn on over 100,000 different processes, hormonally and chemically, in the body per second. And understand, why do you have to go to my library to get it? Why can't you just see it on my website? Well, because this product, we were told that we have to put it into our back office, into our library, okay? Or they would take our website down. Meanwhile, it's totally non-toxic. It's got all the studies behind it, okay? We've got Ozo Jr. that is amazing for autism or children who aren't growing properly emotionally, mentally, or physically. Alzagen for people with dementia, Alzheimer's, brain disorders. Dentagen for teeth, jaw problems. Cardigen for joints. Megagen is what you take to if you're totally healthy and you never want a calcium problem. And it's the only calcium product that you should take on a daily basis as a maintenance. And understand, Merigen, well, that's thunder in a bottle. You need to take a look at this. Merigen goes in and works on the whole body, changes your tissue pH, your blood pH. It can take all the calcium displaced in the human body and put it back into the bones. But so can Cardigen, so can Megagen and Dentagen. They just take longer. But Merigen is a thunderbolt. And Cardigen, like I said, will restore your joints. So take a look at the information here, all right? And then tell me if you don't think that this is one of the biggest scientific breakthroughs in the last 75 to 100 years. So understand something, everybody. I just want to tell you this, and I've mentioned it. The invisible creates the physical. And understand something, all right? Okay, the game is rigged, all right? And you've been set up from a cane to a walker to a wheelchair to your bed to depends to somebody having to care for you. It's a scar tissue issue, but the biggest issue is it's a plot, and they're making money off of you, and you're being sold by the pound. So understand something. Constipation, right? Mentally and physically equals inflammation in the brain and in the body that then causes the scar tissue formation, crystallization, calcification, and now we have mutation. So this is the deal. This is just a web of destruction. That's all this is. Scarred for life. Do you know how many women get cesareans, okay? Or people who have had like their gallbladder removed, or they had their appendix removed, or they have prostate surgery. Do you know what kind of adhesions are left? I'm telling you, it'll choke you off that you can't poop. It'll choke you off that you can't digest your food. You can't assimilate your food, that you can't move properly, that you're going to feel like you're going to tear out. So that's what scar tissue is going to do. It's going to tie you up into knots. And those invisible knots that are binding you, they ruin your life. So understand something. Gallbladder surgery, like I just said, appendix surgery, cesarean. And cesareans, I mean, why don't they just help women out and just put a zipper from their belly button down to their pubic bone so they can just unzip the baby if they're going to have any more? Understand something. I'm not saying that sometimes cesareans aren't needed, but guess what? This is a convenience thing. This is a money issue. And understand something. Where is your large intestine, ladies? Where's your large intestine? Is it not surrounding where the baby is? Do you not think that if that highway isn't looked after, that it's going to be a very bumpy road? And understand, if there's not loving in the oven, then guess what? There's a cesspool there. And if you are constipated, if you are blocked up and you're going to have gas and old waste in there, worms, bad bacteria, fungus, do you think that that's not going to cause irritation, inflammation for the baby, that the baby's going to struggle to want to get out of there? Do you not think that that's its home and the environment means something? I hope you get this. This is not your fault, anyone. So anything that I've said through this masterclass, I am not picking on you. I am not judging you. Listen, I already said the game was rigged. We can't do better till we know better. But I'm trying to give you better. That's all I want to say. All right. So what did I tell you earlier? We got a big problem, don't we? Well, guess what? Over 33 million women in North America suffer from chronic pelvic pain. I want you to think about that. 33 million. Now, this is chronic pain. This is where they actually have to have surgery. okay, on their pelvis for one disorder or another, or they're getting what? Hip replacement. Because what do you think the inflammation does in the pelvis? It is like a fireplace, and that fire just goes and burns the hips out. And understand, if you think you need to go and get a hip replacement, you give that a second thought. Go ahead, book yourself, but come to see us. And if we don't stop the hip replacement, I'll give you your money back. But you've got to do the things I ask. Get on the perfect day diet. Get your bowels moving properly. Drink structured water. And then do clapping. Do the pelvic squat. Do the pelvic enhancer. Let us go in there and do Wolfe Non-Surgical, or teach your husband how to do Wolfe Non-Surgical on you, so that if you go move in bed and you feel a little bit of pain, he's just going to go, honey, I got this. Okay? Hey, what guy doesn't want to be a hero? And understand something, man. We've lost our way. Okay? The women are basically raising the children. The women do the shopping. The women do the cooking. The women do the cleaning. What the heck are we doing? Well, you should be making sure that your family is not in pain emotionally or physically. And you better make sure that that house becomes a health love zone. And that's what I need to say about that one. So, and guess what? The number one surgery performed in North America is what? Oh my gosh. Go figure, eh? And go back a few years. Why don't you just go back 10 years and find out how many cesareans were being done compared to today? And I'll tell you what the epidemic is. The epidemic is inflammation of the mind, and then the body, and then the pelvis and abdomen. That's what it is. I already told you the game was rigged. Okay, 1.3 million C-sections performed every year and growing like a pandemic. Okay, so here's what a cesarean scar looks like. And let me tell you something. If you've had a cesarean, then you've got roots growing off of that cesarean scar that are 2 to 3 inches. And that will actually go down, wrap itself around your pubic bone, wrap yourself around the uterus and the ovaries, the bladder, the fallopian tubes. It'll wrap itself around the large intestine, and you won't be able to poop. You'll get bladder infections all the time. You'll make love with your husband, and it will hurt, because of the scar tissue is choking everything off. I hope you're getting this. I'm not making it up. Why don't you just talk, men, to your wives who have had cesareans and ask them and tell them that you can be their hero. Okay? Do you get this? Are you hearing me? Are you hearing this, guys? Well, if there's any guys watching this, because most men won't even take the time to watch this. That's right. Because it's the woman's job, isn't it, guys? I hope I'm stirring you up a little bit, guys, if you're out there somewhere. Okay, so pelvic poisoning. So you want to get pelvic poisoning, this is what's going to happen. All right? And you've been set up for it. That's all I want to say. Endometriosis affects 1 in 5 women in North America. Okay, I hope you just, let's say this again. Endometriosis affects 1 in 5 women in North America. 20% of the women in North America have endometriosis. What is that, guys? Why didn't they just call it what it is? Scar tissue in your pelvis caused from inflammation, caused from the constipation of the leakage of the infection from your large intestine, because everything runs downward and it goes into the soup bowl of the pelvis, and scar tissue becomes the issue because your body's trying to protect it from mutating and giving you cancer. How's that? Okay, the second most performed surgery in North America is the hysterectomy. Well, you don't get a hysterectomy unless you're so inflamed, you've got so much scar tissue in there, okay, that they don't even know what to do with it. It's just like knot, another knot, another knot. The whole pelvis is full of baby fists everywhere. And understand, you can get rid of these on your own. And when you do get the hysterectomy, now you're going to have a whole brick of scar tissue and calcium left in your pelvis. But you've been numbed out. So, hysterectomy surgery. Here it is. There's the scar. How lovely is that? Okay? And understand something. There's a price to be paid. The third most performed surgery in North America is the myomectomy. Okay? So what is that? Well, that's cancer. Okay? That's cancer on the uterus. Okay? All right. So hysterectomies, myomectomies, and cesareans create life-threatening adhesions. We already know that. In 93% of the women who get them. So 93% of the women, okay, who get these 3 surgeries, they have life-threatening adhesions when they're done. So the actual surgery becomes the life-threatening situation to 93% of the women that get it. Okay, I already told you this. 49% of all women leak urine. Okay, approximately 600,000 hysterectomies are performed in the United States each year. A little more than 1 uterus for every minute of the year. 50% of all women have pelvic organ prolapse. Well, that's because you've lost the tone and everything's just falling down. All right, you've got no muscle tone left in your pelvis or in your abdomen, so now everything's just laying in there limp. And so what is that? Well, what used to be, okay, the highway of life has now become a cesspool. This is the end of part 11. Surgery is the last option when you're awake. We'll see you in part 12. Learn to fly.